For years, I have dreamed of taking an overland expedition to the Arctic Ocean, but I wanted more than just a drive. I wanted a full-blown adventure. Joined by my good friend Sean from the YouTube channel The Story Till Now, we spent 2 weeks and 3,700 miles exploring Canada's wild backcountry, discovering the most breathtaking campsites, encountering incredible wildlife, and overcoming countless challenges that threatened to end our journey. This Arctic expedition was an experience that changed my life forever. Come join us on this epic adventure. Today I begin this part of this incredible journey starting from a hidden gem of a campsite along a river in northeast Washington, just a few miles from the Canadian border. This was a special, unexpected campsite find that I just stumbled upon doing a little searching around. Not a bad way to start off this leg of my expedition. I mean, is this not just an unbelievable spot? I can only hope that we find more breathtaking campsites as we head deep into Canada. The birds here, the water, this is crazy to me. It's a 3-day weekend, and it is actually, I got here last night on a Saturday and I thought, there's no way I'm gonna find a good camp spot. And this was just one of those spots that I found by searching around on Google Earth. And I'm like, there might be something there. And sure enough, there was. It was a little bit of a good crawl to get in here, and I'll show you on the way out. But I'm gonna finish my coffee. I'm gonna pack up. I'm gonna soak this in just a little bit more, and we're gonna go hit the road and meet up with my good friend, and then the adventure really begins. I'm not sure when I might be back to this part of Washington, but when I do make my way here again, this is a spot I will be revisiting. It's taken me 4 days to get to this point on my trip, and now that I'm getting ready to cross over the border into British Columbia and meet up with Sean, I'm feeling a tremendous sense of excitement for what's to come. I've spent endless hours planning and preparing for this trip to the Arctic Ocean, but I anticipate there are going to be many unexpected things that will happen along the way that will challenge us and require a modification to my original plans. And being flexible on a month-long journey like this is essential. First, I need to get through the border crossing. Good morning, how you doing?
Very good. Where's home for you?
San Diego.
Where are you headed today?
I'm meeting a friend and we're going all the way up to the Arctic Circle. No, we're going to go to Tuktoyaktuk.
How long are you being there?
Well, we're hoping up and back is less than 2 weeks, but we'll kind of see how the conditions are. We're still waiting for the ferries to start running. As I was driving up here, I was curious about what kind of questions they were going to ask me and whether or not they were going to inspect my vehicle. While they did ask me a good amount of questions for about 5 minutes, they also told me that the way I was heading, there were some major forest fires in the area and I might actually encounter some road closures. Not the kind of news I was looking forward to hearing. But on the bright side, I didn't have to go through a Jeep or trailer inspection, and I was able to continue on through the border. All right, guys, we made it to Canada, and that was a bit of interesting information that the place we're meeting up with Sean is on fire, so we'll see how that goes. All right, it's official. I'm in Canada, across the border, and this is my first time ever driving into Canada. When I was in the Navy, we did some port calls, I think, into Vancouver a long time ago, but I've never driven across the border. Now, I had to do a conversion because they're in kilometers, and so trying to figure out what my speed limit is, that was just something I had to do right away, and now I got to figure out what's going on with those fires, where we're supposed to meet Sean. It wasn't until 2 days later that I realized it's a simple change to go from miles per hour to kilometers by just pressing the OK button on the steering wheel. Now you know. The first part of my drive into British Columbia was absolutely beautiful, and this is only a taste of what's to come. I did see some wild horses on the side of the road, absolutely beautiful, and I saw some signs for some bighorn sheep. And if you've been following my adventures for a while, you know that bighorn sheep have eluded me for years. Maybe I'll finally see some in Canada. I've got several hours of driving today, so I made a quick stop for fuel, but I had no idea at the time how much I was paying for fuel because it's in liters and not gallons. But I finally figured out that this works out to be around $4.83 per gallon, and that's actually pretty cheap because as we head further north, that price will almost double. All right, I've been on the road for about 2 hours since crossing the border and just driving through this gorgeous windy road through the mountains, going through some small little towns. And then I came across this little rest area right on this crystal clear lake. Gorgeous. So stopping here, stretching my legs, eating a little lunch, and then I'll continue on. I got about an hour and a half to get to a place called Spence's Bridge where I'm going to meet up with Sean. And then he knows a trail that we're going to go explore and camp out tonight before we continue making our way even further north. Now, I mentioned earlier when I crossed the border agent said that there were fires in that area. I looked up, I wasn't able to find anything, but we'll see how it goes. Guys, look, bighorn sheep. Oh my gosh, it finally happened. I had to come to Canada for it to happen, but there's some bighorn sheep. You gotta be kidding me. Finally, I had to come to Canada to see some bighorn sheep. You guys know that I've been on the hunt for bighorn sheep forever, and then here on the side of the road, here's 3 of them. Right on. We saw horses, saw bighorn sheep. I'm hoping we see a lot more wildlife on this trip. This is awesome. I finally saw them. Oh yeah, that was a very special moment for me, and I actually encountered a second herd of them just down the road a little bit farther, and a couple days later I would come across some baby bighorns. The amount of wildlife I will end up seeing on this trip far exceeded my expectations. I just arrived to the small town of Spence's Bridge, and this was a town that rose up from the gold rush back in the 1800s, and this is where I'm meeting Sean, and from here we're gonna head to a trail that he's been to before, camp up here somewhere tonight, and then tomorrow we'll really start laying down the miles to work our way north. Not much here in this little town, not even a gas station, but I'm gonna go find a place to just kind of wait it out. He said he's about 45 minutes out, so I'm a little early. Spence's Bridge is a very small town with a population of only 76 people, but it's got some historical significance as this was a booming town in the 1800s during the gold rush. In 1863, a gentleman by the name of Thomas Spence brought a crew in and built the first bridge, making it easier to cross the Thompson River. However, shortly after the bridge was completed, it was washed away by a heavy spring snowmelt. A second bridge was later completed by Spence and his crew the following year. Today, there is a large, beautiful bridge that crosses the Thompson River, and there's a few trains that run along the mountains on the other side of town, but otherwise, there isn't a whole lot else inside this small town. It was just a great location for Sean and I to meet up.
Welcome to British Columbia.
Man, it's great to see Sean again. We always have a good time when we go out together. Now, he's going to lead. We're going to go hit a gas station, and he said something about a Tim Hortons, which I've never been to a Tim Hortons. And then we're going to head up to the trail. He said the trail conditions right now, a little mud, possibly a little snow, but totally passable. So it should be a little adventure to get to camp tonight. All right, just a quick stop before we hit the dirt for some fuel and for some Tim Hortons, which I've never had before. And man, they have a lot of really good looking stuff in there. Some donuts and some pastries, some flatbreads, all the stuff that's not on my diet. But coffee is on my diet. So let's see how good their coffee is. Oh yeah, that's a good blend of coffee right there. I like that. All right, that's a thumbs up. Okay, Sean's grabbing a couple things, and then we're gonna go hit the dirt. Oh yeah, finally we are on the dirt, and we're gonna make our way up the Cornwall Fire Lookout Trail, which is an easy trail in dry conditions. But we're soon gonna find out this trail isn't very dry. Oh yeah, We just hit some nasty, greasy, sticky mud. You know, I don't love mud, but at least we can get through it, and I have mud flaps, which means I should have clean door handles before this is all said and done, but I don't know, this is pretty nasty. I gotta say, guys, after going through that slimy, greasy stuff, these tires do pretty good. Pretty impressed with them. This trail is beautiful and fun, and it's not the hot and muddy mess we thought it was going to be. It's muddy, but it's sloppy, but it's fine. Just the views are spectacular. Now, we're heading towards the top of this peak where there is a fire tower overlook. We've climbed just over 5,000 feet in elevation so far, and the temperature has dropped significantly up here. And there are still several patches of soft snow on the trail on the shaded side of the mountain. It's hard for me to imagine that just 4 days ago I was wearing shorts and flip-flops. I hope I can acclimatize to this cold weather quickly. As we near the peak of the Cornwall Hill, which sits at 6,677 feet, the fire lookout comes into view. We made it. What a beautiful, beautiful view. And boy, that was a steep climb coming up. Let's go take a look at this thing. Oh, wow. This is super clean. Sean, buddy, this is amazing.
Nice little shelter from the wind outside.
Yeah, but dude, this is beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Welcome to British Columbia.
Yeah. And now you were telling me at the start of the day, there are no more manned fire lookouts.
That's correct. There's, I think in Alberta they still have some.
Okay.
But in BC they switched totally to satellite for that.
Wow.
So these have been, I think, since the 90s, okay. I want to say. Yeah. That these have been, so a lot of them have just been kind of getting run down. So the Four Wheel Drive Association of BC, a group that I'm a member of, we maintain these, adopt them where we can.
Yeah.
And then some of them are just out there falling apart. We found ones that are still, look like they were just abandoned and left.
Wow. Well, this one's pretty cool, man. It's awesome that they maintain it.
Yep.
I've been lucky enough to visit many manned and unmanned fire lookouts over the years, and they always have spectacular views that stretch for miles in all directions. This fire lookout would have been manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week during the fire season, and those on watch here would often live up here for days or weeks at a time until being relieved. It's great to see a place like this is still being so well preserved. It's actually snowing right now. It's just some small little flakes, but it is snowing. It's a little chilly up here, but there's not bad wind, which is nice. So Sean and I are going to camp up here with these incredible views. So we're going to cook up some chow, hang out, and kind of just catch up a little bit. It's been a while since we've hung out together, so it'll be a good evening. What a great way to start off the day in Canada. Today has been incredible. All right, slight change of plans. It's hard to get level up there. It's pretty off camber. And so what we decided was we're gonna go down a little bit, find a spot that's more level and maybe has a little bit of protection from the wind. It's pretty windy up there, but man, that fire tower, super, super cool. And honestly, we could camp anywhere out here tonight and it's gonna be amazing. We drove down about a half mile from the fire lookout where we found the perfect level spot in the grass, which still offered some beautiful views. After getting camp set up, it was time for some dinner. I'm starving. All right, we are just down the hill from the lookout tower and have a nice level spot. A little bit of protection from the wind, but it's still chilly. You can see I've got all the things on. I need to find my big gloves, but I'm gonna cook up dinner. I'm gonna make a little ribeye and just have a little avocado. And I mentioned a couple days ago that I'm using induction, and tonight is the perfect night for induction cooking because it's windy and I don't have to worry about a flame blowing out. So that's gonna be nice. And we're still getting some snow flurries. It's chilly, but I'm excited to be here, guys. This is awesome. Whew, it's chilly. I don't know what it is with the wind chill, but temperature right now says it's just about 37 degrees. And for you Canadians, that's like 4. See, I got Celsius on there. Look, I'm just having a simple dinner, a ribeye with some avocado. Sean grabbed a sandwich at Tim Hortons. Tomorrow we're gonna hit a grocery store and we'll kind of figure out our meal plan along the way and we'll cook meals together. But tonight was just, let's get set up, let's have a good meal, and let's hunker down from this cold and wind. So I'm gonna eat and then I'll get set up. Sean and I have been friends for a few years now, and we've tackled many trails together, and we are both full of joy that we are finally beginning this journey up north that we have talked so much about over the last few months. I couldn't ask for a better first night camp in Canada, and wow, Mother Nature did not disappoint with the sunset she put on display. Well, good morning. It's day 5 on this trip. We were camping at 6,500 feet last night and it was cold, and it's very cold this morning. I'm thankful to have some warm clothes. Now, the plan is we're actually going to pack up a little early. It's just a little after 7:30, so we're going to head out of here a little early. We've still got to make our way down the sloppy and greasy, muddy trail and then hit the road, and we're going to work our way north towards the town of Prince George, and from there we're going to kind of explore a little bit and hopefully find another camp spot on our way up to the Arctic Circle and Tuktoyaktuk. If you recall, on the climb up the mountain yesterday, I was complimenting my tires on how well they were performing in the mud. Well, climbing just this small hill and I could not get them to bite, and I couldn't make it up. Thankfully, there is a drier and rockier line to the right, and I was able to climb right up that. But Tires are the most important thing on your vehicle, and having the utmost confidence in them is crucial. But I will say, even the best mud tires can sometimes struggle in the slick stuff. About halfway down the mountain, Sean mentioned on the radio he was hearing a clicking noise coming from under his truck. We investigated some possibilities, but we just couldn't sort out what it is, so we're gonna have to take a closer look when we get back down to the pavement. Sean, I know you've been out to this trail many times over the years. How many trees do you think you've chopped down out here?
I couldn't say for sure on this trail, but at least a few. Probably between 5 and 10 on this trail. Yeah. But all trails together, you know, hundreds, thousands maybe.
Yeah. The luxury of living up here in the woods, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
Come off the fun, muddy section of trail, and now we're just on this winding dirt road through a bunch of ranches and private property. We're gonna hit the pavement here soon, and we're actually gonna drive up to that gas station where we gassed up yesterday to air up and investigate a little clicking sound that Sean is hearing from his truck, just to kind of see what that is. Hopefully it's maybe just a rock or something, and then we can continue our journey north, hopefully. After grabbing a bit of fuel and airing up, we needed to give a once-over to Sean's truck. Clicking noises can be lots of things. A rock stuck somewhere, a broken axle, a blown ring and pinion. We have to find the noise before we continue.
Stop, stop. Again, now go forward.
Stop. All right, so here's the news. I crawled under, and it looks like the CV joint that's attached to your transfer case where the drive shaft is, the rubber seal that's on there is gone, and now because you're fully flexed because you lifted it, it's rubbing really hard, and so there's exposed grease. So I think we got to replace that front drive shaft somehow, and it probably needs to have like a extended drive shaft or a double cardan or something like that. But yeah, this is just going to cause more problems as we go. I mean, we can always pull the drive shaft if we need to, but that you're only going to have two-wheel drive.
Right. Okay.
All right, here's the current state of affairs. I got some more Tim Horton coffee, good stuff. And Sean made a couple phone calls, and the plan now is we're going to continue on, and because to replace that drive shaft with a stock one is just going to result in the same situation. And getting an aftermarket drive shaft, one, would be very time consuming. Two, it's a little more involved because there's some drilling and tapping that has to take place. So we're going to continue on. The good news is he's on 40s and he has a rear locker, and we don't anticipate doing any crazy trails from here on out. We'll do some trails, but they shouldn't be anything super technical, so he'll probably be fine. So we're going to continue on, and Sean is leading the way today. All right, just a quick stop for groceries to make sure we have enough for the next couple days. Lots of great people coming up and talking to us here. Everybody's so friendly. I grabbed a little lunch, some smoked salmon bites. Oh, this is so good. But now we got to lay down some miles. We don't know where exactly we're ending up tonight because we had that little delay trying to sort out the drive shaft. But we're going to try to get towards Prince George and maybe a little bit further, but just kind of play it by ear today.
And all that day we saw no shepherd. With another, they respect strength.
We just passed through a pretty good rainstorm that I guarantee washed off all the mud off from underneath my Jeep. So it was a nice little cleaning. We've just been on the road for, I don't know, we've been about 3 hours now, just working our way north. Not a lot to see. We've been through quite a few towns, but they're kind of touristy towns, resort towns, and then just driving a lot through these forest roads. I don't think it's going to be until we get much further north where we're actually going to start seeing some really cool historical towns, which we'll stop and check out, and then some really interesting points of interest. Today is just about laying down some miles, and we don't know.
Probably next gas station we see, eh?
Yeah, next gas station would be great. Yeah, we don't know exactly where we're camping tonight, but we'll figure it out. And I need to get some fuel because while Sean has a massive fuel tank in that truck, I have just my little 21 gallon. So I'm getting fuel more often than he is. Stopped for fuel just a few miles back, and I got a text from Regina, and she has confirmed her flight, the hotel reservation, and she grabbed a rental car, and we're gonna meet up in Banff. So on my way home from Tuktoyaktuk, I'm gonna stop through Calgary, head over to Banff, and hang out with her for a couple days. It's gonna be really good. Now that's 13 days from now, so it's still a while, but it's something else along this trip to look forward to, and that's been a place that we've been wanting to go to for a long time, so it'll be a nice little mini vacation. Really looking forward to it. So that was a little bright side of my day. Now, Sean and I, during that stop, we discussed, and we're like, yep, we're feeling good. We're just gonna keep pressing on for a couple more hours. We are about a half hour west of the town of Prince George, and now there's just a bunch of Forest Service roads. We were looking on iOverlander and been surfing around on Onyx Off-Road, and so what we're going to do is just kind of investigate some of these areas and see what we find. Hopefully we can find something near a lake or a river or stream, but this is just going to be just kind of a matter of cruising down some of these Forest Service roads, see what we find. We may have to backtrack, but it's all good. We still got plenty of daylight left. I think it's been like an hour and a half since I reported into you guys, and well, after searching many forest roads, we found this kind of primitive campsite. It's a campground, so there's other people here, but look at this. This is incredible, and we really just needed to kind of call it. We've been driving for a while, looking at spots and just getting skunked, and so we saw this was open. We're like, it's a weekday, we should be able to get a spot. And of course, we got two spots right next to each other. I'm hungry, it's time to eat. All right, for dinner tonight, a little asparagus, some wild salmon fillets, and an incredible view. This worked out, buddy. What do you think?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
it was starting to get dire looking for a camp spot there, and then you spotted this on the map, and it did not disappoint.
No, it worked out really well.
Thank you very much.
You can help yourself with the asparagus.
Okay.
Dinner was pretty tasty, and while we are eating store-bought fish tonight, we are hoping that along the way on this trip we can catch a few fish of our own and fry them up. This lake looks pretty fishy, so maybe I'll give it a go in the morning. Across the lake, we spotted something moving along the lake's edge. A moose and her calf. Wow, that's not something you see often. You can see Mom is very alert while her little one is out and about, and honestly, how adorable is that little moose? Oh yeah, I hope we see a lot more of this kind of stuff along the trip. This morning, there's a slow-moving fog drifting gently off the water. Birds and ducks are creating a lively scene all around, and as I savored my first cup of coffee, a beaver casually swam by our campsite. It was the first time I've seen a beaver in the wild, and they are abundant in this region. Historically, beavers played a crucial role in opening up this vast land to the outside world, hunted for their valuable pelts. The beaver is the national symbol of Canada, and we're going to encounter many more before our journey ends. Now, we were camped next to some travelers from Germany driving a very well-built Unimog that they had shipped over, and we had a great conversation with them last night. One of my favorite parts of this trip so far has been the people we have met. Well, good morning. It is day 6, and I had a beautiful morning at that lake spot. What an amazing find. Now we're heading out. We left really early this morning, and we are just going to try to lay down a lot of miles. There's not a whole lot in between here and the Yukon, and so we're just going to try to really press so we can push north, and then we can kind of slow down and start to see some things. Who knows what we might see. We traveled northwest along Highway 16 for a couple hours and stopped to stretch our legs at one of British Columbia's visitor centers. When you are traveling to new regions, these can be valuable resources in learning about the area and often getting insight on places to explore you may not have considered. After we drove about 270 miles total today, we finally made it to an important waypoint along our journey. Okay, we put in a lot of miles up to this point, but this is kind of where things really begin. We are getting ready to get on the Stewart-Cassiar Highway, and Sean, you've only been just a little ways past this, right?
Yep, I've been to Stewart, Alaska, which is the southern tip of Alaska, kind of.
We're going to get really, really remote, and we still have about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours. We kind of don't know where we're camping tonight, but we'll figure it out. It's all good.
It gets beautiful from here, basically.
Yeah.
And remote, so it's going to be good.
It's going to be awesome. The breathtaking Stewart-Cassiar Highway is one of the most scenic and remote highways in British Columbia. Stretching over 435 miles through this rugged route offers stunning views of dense forest, towering mountains, and pristine rivers. It's known for its wildlife, and we may spot a bear, a moose, or even a elusive lynx if we keep our eyes out. This highway will connect us to the heart of nature and leading us further into the wild beauty, and assuming everything goes as planned, we will reach the Yukon tomorrow. Well guys, we have had a pretty uneventful day for about the last 7.5 hours. And we were still gonna keep pushing for about another 2.5 hours. And we keep seeing these beautiful mountains and the river on the side, and we're like, there's gotta be a way to get down there. And so we've tried a couple times and failed. But now we're on this 2-track trail, and it looks like it has some potential, guys. I'm kinda excited to see where this ends up. The trail was a little tight for you, my friend. Yeah. So, all right, guys. So there is a little campsite here. That's got potential. We could camp there. I mean, it's fine for 2 vehicles, but there's a lake down here and we want to see what's down in the lake. So we're going to go check that out. Not waterfront camping, guys, unfortunately, but let me just take you down here because you got to see what we're talking about. Look at this view. That's magical. And so
Yeah, look at that.
That's beautiful. And unfortunately, this is a big swampy mess right here. So
yeah, not a swamp fan myself.
No.
So I think we continue on.
Continue on, but still worth coming down here. It's beautiful.
One of the important things that Sean and I discussed when planning this trip was that we didn't want to have a lot of hard deadlines and objectives to reach every day. We want to be flexible, and if we decide to have a short travel day or put in a lot of miles another, or just spend some time exploring for an epic campsite like today, we can. This trail looks promising, but I'm not sure how I feel about this sketchy looking bridge.
I mean, we've got some big beams, but it feels solid enough. There's some metal under there.
That was a bit uncomfortable, but thankfully that bridge was solid enough. The bridge, however, would not be the biggest obstacle we would face on this trail.
All right, we hit a little Y in the trail. This is a well-built trail. It's almost like this was built for loggers or something, but I can see those mountains right in front of me, and on the map, there is water right in front of us. Man, if we can get on the water and get those mountains, this would be epic. I just kind of got myself in a precarious situation. I'm a little stuck. I thought I had this, and apparently it was much deeper than I thought. So I'm gonna need a little help from Sean.
You fell in a hole.
I got myself in a little situation. But I didn't think it was quite as deep as it was.
That's a quality bridge.
Well, it looked pretty good, but my trailer hitch didn't fare so well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm dug in there pretty good.
Okay, here we go.
There she is.
Got her.
I'm gonna come all the way out of the hole because we're probably gonna need to stack a little bit.
I really can't believe how poorly I misjudged the depth of this ditch. I really should have gotten out and looked at it before I attempted it, but thankfully Sean was here. A very good reason to explore with somebody else in another vehicle in case you find yourself in a sticky situation. Hopefully rearranging some of these logs and taking it at a bit of a different angle will help.
Good. Touching the ground now.
Just a quick thanks to the sponsor of this video, which is onX Off-Road. onX Off-Road has been an invaluable asset in helping me plan this trip and navigating out here in these remote areas. I'll leave a link down below where you can get 20% off of your membership to onX Off-Road.
Okay, we've been on this logging road longer than anticipated. It doesn't look like we're gonna be able to make it to the river, but there's a lake on the left that we might be able to get to. So Sean's got his drone up there and he's scouting around, but there's a lot of dead ends and a lot of Ys. We wanna make sure we're not making any more wrong turns. And it's getting a little late, so we're actually...
It's hard to tell, it's a maze up here.
Yeah, so you can see it's tough. So we're not really set on having to camp on the water at this point. We would just be happy with a flat spot with a view, but we gotta find camp here pretty soon.
What's the verdict, my friend?
The road that goes towards the river dead ends and it's kind of like a cliff down to the river.
Okay.
This is a dead end. There's a winding road that goes really close to the lake, but doesn't look like it goes all the way to the lake. Not sure how close it gets. And then there's roads that go that way like forever.
So what do you think? Should we cut our losses?
I feel like we should go a little bit more this way.
Okay.
And see if we can find somewhere decent to set up.
All right, let's give ourselves another 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, got to a point where the trail is really getting overgrown. And I think we might find ourselves turning around. But guys, look at that. Tell me that's not beautiful. I mean, it would be so amazing to camp down here, but let me show what the trail looks like. It doesn't look great. Yeah, it's all small stuff, but I'm just gonna walk it for a minute. We'll see how it goes. All right, the walk down here might have paid off. This is almost a clearing. I at least have to come down here because this will be the easiest place to turn the trail around, but we could camp here. I mean, it's flat enough and we got a pretty good view and it's getting late. Let's go see what Sean thinks. All right. I think it's large enough for us. In fact, we could probably fit another vehicle in here if we needed to. It's a little buggy. The mosquitoes are out. It's the first swarm of mosquitoes we've experienced at camp on this trip. But Sean, what do you think, buddy? This will work for tonight?
It'll work.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we couldn't find a water spot, but we got the view spot, which is also acceptable.
It's extremely acceptable. I will say I have camped in many worse spots. Okay, we arrived, we set up camp, and I mentioned it was really buggy when we got here, and then the rain came. So now it's raining pretty good, so we got the Patriot Campers awning up, thankfully, and the bugs have kind of dissipated, plus Sean brought 2 of these thermal cells.
Yes.
Thank you, Sean. We're going to grill up some ribs. Just relax a little bit, I think. It's been a fun, adventurous day. Way more than we expected.
More than we planned.
It was good. It was awesome.
That's how I like it.
And the scenery is pretty amazing. All right, these are pre-cooked chipotle ribs. All we did was heat them up. Oh, heck yeah, dude. These are good.
morning, guys. It is day 7 of this Arctic adventure, and we're starting out the day in northern British Columbia, and we're going to travel 5-6 hours and try to make it towards the British Columbia and Yukon border, towards a town called Watson Lake. We've got some ideas where we want to camp around there, but this has not been a bad camping spot. That is an incredible view. Getting in here was quite the adventure. Getting out, let's hope it's a little bit less of an adventure, but as long as we don't have to pull winch, it'll be a good start to the morning. All right, we've reached the little dip where I got stuck yesterday and Sean had to winch me out. You know, it was kind of just bugging me all night long, just going over in my head about, you know, how could I be so dumb to let myself get stuck? And the truth is, I was probably being a little overconfident, and I also kind of had it in my head that I'm a little used to towing the trailer with the Wrangler where I have a shorter departure angle, and so that's just is 100% on me. I really should have slowed down. I should have looked at it. I should have had Sean watch the trailer as I was coming through. The good news is I was with somebody, which is, you know, when you're going through an obstacle, it's always better to do it with a buddy or turn around, because he was able to help me out. We stacked a couple of logs, and then I was able to make it through, which I should have just done in the first place. Now we're going in the other direction, so hopefully I don't get stuck this time. You're good.
Stop for a sec. Okay. Hold on, stop. You're digging into a log here.
Of course.
It's wood.
Of course. Yep, it's wood.
Ripped through the log right there.
Yeah.
But at least it came free easily.
You know, I'll bet if it would have just been dirt,
Yeah.
it might have just scraped through it.
Oh, it would have for sure. It was a log that got it hung up.
I think so.
Log versus metal.
Yeah. Well, that big ditch did it again. You know, I think if those logs hadn't have been there, I probably could have made it through there a little easier, but those logs were just grabbing everything. It wasn't like the dirt could just move. I'm thankful that Sean's here. I think that's one of those situations that if I was out here solo, I would have to turn around and not even attempt. But we had to come back through here because there's no way out the other way, because this is the only way in. So got to cross this old rickety bridge, and then we'll be hitting pavement. we've been on the Stewart Cassiar Highway for about 2 hours this morning, and what just an incredibly beautiful drive. I mean, you're in the mountains, this nice windy road, green trees everywhere, snow-capped mountains all off in the distance. There's flowers on the side of the road. Just beautiful. But one thing to mention is you have to be mindful of these semis. They are coming through hard and fast, and there's been a couple bridges which are pretty narrow. Like for two cars, like it's almost a two-lane bridge, but for a semi-truck and this Jeep, it doesn't do it. And there's not a whole lot of warning, and I had to get on the brakes pretty hard to let this truck go through because he wasn't slowing down. Also, there's been a few times where we've gone up some pretty steep climbs, and there's like this truck carrying like 30 tons of salt, and he was not going very fast. But other than the semis and just being mindful of them, it's been a great morning. Seems like all day today, every turn there's an epic river or an epic lake, and just gorgeous. And I was thinking, you know, if any one of these lakes or rivers was in California, in itself, it would be a big destination. And here, there's nobody out here. They're just beautiful, beautiful lakes and rivers that nobody visits. It's kind of crazy. It's incredible how many there are here. All right, Sean was just on the radio, and he's like, hey, I think I know where the Cassiar ghost town is, and we're gonna go see if we can find it. Okay, I think we've reached the mine. It's probably the largest tailing pile I've ever seen in my life back there, and we're gonna work our way up there. But there's a bunch of old buildings all around here, abandoned old buildings, and so we're just gonna walk around, check them out, and then we'll continue up that way. That, I gotta tell you, that tailing pile is, Sean and I were like, that's the largest we've ever seen in our lives. It's not super old. We'll walk down to the end and see what we see. There's an old house on the other side of this stream, and it looks like there used to be a footbridge over here that went across, but there's no way to get across now. But man, what a beautiful stream. All right, let's go see what else we can find. Well, somebody's got the keys to that lock, but I don't think you need keys to get access to this house. No. I mean, a good roofer could probably make it happen.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure this is the ghost town, like the main part of town here.
Oh, copy that.
That's insane.
It's so massive, I can't believe it.
I'm not sure if this qualifies as a tailing pile or a tailing mountain. Whatever it is that they were or possibly are still mining up here has required the displacement of a lot of earth. I suppose this isn't a typical ghost town you would come across. Most of it seems like it's 40 or 50 years old, and there is a lot of heavy equipment laying around, and I think it's currently being salvaged. Still, an interesting site to check out today, but now we need to get back on the Cassiar and begin looking for camp.
Wow, this is a lot of devastated forest. There was massive fires here in British Columbia last year, and this was one of the areas that was affected. man, we have just been driving for miles and miles, just seeing nothing but burned trees, and we are only 6 miles from where we're potentially going to be camping tonight. We're hoping that the forest fire didn't reach to this site, because I'm a big for not very nice campsite the way it's looking, so hopefully things green up. Went down this trail for a little while. The good news is it's green, it's not burnt out here, but we couldn't find the spot, and I've got this GPS coordinate, and then I walked down this trail that just had all these big trees across, and I got all the way down to the river, and I'm like, oh, the campsite's on the other side of the river, so we're going back to the road, gonna cross over, and then I think we'll be in business. Found it. Check this out, guys. This is beautiful. Wow. What a spot, guys. What a beautiful spot. And you know what's great is it's like 60 degrees right now. It's very comfortable. A few mosquitoes flying around, but all set up. Beautiful view. I did put out the awning, not because I need it because it's raining at the moment, although it could potentially rain again. There's some ominous clouds, but it's still pretty wet from last night, and so I need that thing to dry out. I don't want it to get moldy. So we're all set up. I think I'm just gonna get the chair and relax, maybe have a beverage, and just enjoy this. On second thought, this river looks a little fishy to me, and one of my goals on this trip is to catch some fish along the way. So let's see how this goes. Oh yeah, I caught 2 nice grayling. While grayling are a good eating fish, I'm actually not sure what the size limit is, so tonight I opted to catch and release. I need to do some more homework about specific size regulations up here in Canada. Still, super excited to have actually caught something. One of my goals, one of my missions, to catch a fish, which I've already done, but catch a fish that's big enough to cook up for dinner. And so hopefully we'll have more opportunities to fish. I'll try again a little bit later. So what's for dinner, my friend?
Steak.
Steak. That's good enough. I was trying to have fish for dinner. Dinner was delicious, and this camping spot is exactly the kind of spot I imagined when I was dreaming about this trip. You wouldn't know it by the looks of it, but it's also almost 10 o'clock at night. The sun is just barely setting in the sky now, and as we head further north, the days are going to just get longer, which is fine by me. This morning, I'm fishing along a beautiful, serene, gently flowing river, hoping to catch some grayling. The tranquility of this river is a perfect start to the day. As the first raindrops begin to fall, I brewed a steaming hot cup of coffee and enjoyed it under the Patriot Campers awning, listening to the soothing sounds of the rain. It's moments like this that remind me why this journey is so special. What a great place to wake up, have a cup of coffee, do a little fishing. Didn't catch anything this morning, but I did catch those 2 yesterday. And my understanding is those were grayling, and so I learned a little bit about some fish last night, and those are highly desirable. So the goal is to catch some more of those in the next couple days. But we're having a nice slow morning, taking it easy, and you know, it's raining, so we're just gonna enjoy this a little bit, put this awning away, and then eventually we're gonna make our way to Watson Lake and then continue on. It's gonna be a nice day. River campsite. It's tough to say goodbye to that spot. And Sean just honked his horn at me. Apparently my collapsing bucket fell off and was on the ground. And I realized, shame on me, I didn't do a full walk around of the trailer to make sure everything was secure before. You know, we're on day 8, and I think I've allowed myself to get a little complacent. I gotta not do that. I have to maintain the integrity of my gear and my vehicles, and I always do, well, except for this morning, a complete walk around of everything to make sure everything's secured, and I didn't do that this morning, so now I'm kicking myself a little bit. That's not gonna happen again. All right, we are on our way to Watson Lake. That's our first stop for the day, not too far away. Well, I just saw my first porcupine ever in my entire life, and I've always thought that they were these little tiny animals like the size of a skunk or something. This thing was huge. It was larger than a basketball. That was super cool. Okay, we are almost to the Yukon border, and I'm hoping there's like a really cool sign there to kind of mark the occasion of crossing this border, because this is a big deal. There's a lot of history going up into this place. About an hour drive north and we reach a major milestone in our journey, the British Columbia and Yukon border, marking the end of the stunning Stewart-Cassiar Highway Drive, which was absolutely incredible. The sight of the Yukon sign is filling us with excitement and anticipation. The Arctic is starting to feel closer than ever. Dude, we're in the Yukon.
We made it to the Yukon.
Heck yeah, how cool is this? All right guys, Yukon, larger than life, that way. Saying goodbye to British Columbia. It's been nice, guys. After crossing the Yukon border, we arrived in the small town of Watson Lake, the most civilization we had seen in days. Nestled in the heart of the Yukon, this town is a crucial stop for travelers like us. It's an important refueling point, and we're taking the opportunity to stock up on some groceries before continuing our journey north. Now, Watson Lake is not just a pit stop, it's a place rich with history and unique attractions. One of the most fascinating sights here is the Signpost Forest. Started in 1942 by a homesick soldier working on the Alaska Highway, the forest now has over 80,000 signs from around the world. Walking through this forest of signs is like taking a journey across the globe. Each sign tells a story of travelers who have passed through this remote part of the world. Well, I've read about this place online, and honestly, all the articles and pictures and even videos I've seen about this place do not do it justice. This is massive. There are a lot of signs here. It's just endless and pretty cool. There's quite a few places that I've been. Poway, we used to live there, which is pretty neat, and something tells me that's highly illegal to bring that sign. Probably should have made like a little trail recon, you know, sign or something. We could have posted that here, but still, super cool. What a unique spot. Sean, what do you think, buddy?
I don't know where I am.
I know.
I keep trying to find a sign that tells me what city I'm in. Maybe I'm in Batavia or Clearwater.
I feel like we're not prepared. Like maybe we should have brought a sign.
Should have stolen some signs along the way. We were just at the Yukon sign.
Oh yeah, we could have carried that.
We could have carried that over here.
That's right. As I'm walking through this massive signpost forest, I'm just thinking about how each one of these signs carries a piece of someone's journey, a moment in time captured and shared right here. The forest is a living and growing monument to the spirit of adventurers and explorers. Wandering through these rows of signs, you can't help but feel a deep connection to those countless people that have gone before us. Another must-visit in Watson Lake is the Visitor Information Center, which is just a short walk from the Signpost Forest, which houses an extensive history of the Alaska Highway, also known as the Alcan. Built in World War II as a supply route to Alaska, the Alcan stretches 1,400 miles through rugged wilderness. The construction of the highway was a monumental feat of engineering and perseverance involving over 18,000 soldiers and civilians. The exhibit here provides a deep dive into the challenges and triumphs of building this vital road through some of the harshest terrain in North America.
As we leave Watson Lake, I'm reminded of the incredible journey I'm on and the many stories and history that have paved the way for this adventure.
Okay, I have to admit, the signpost forest was one bigger than I expected, but so much cooler. But then going into the Visitor Information Center and hearing about the history of the Alaska Highway and how the American and Canadian armies, built that road to, defend against the Japanese during World War II. Just a cool story about this place. Pulled over to take a look at that massive black bear that was on the side of the road. I used my telephoto lens because I wasn't getting anywhere close to that big guy. But I'll tell you, I have seen so much wildlife on this trip so far, and I'm not even halfway done. I mean, it started out with seeing bighorn sheep for the first time. We saw that moose with the baby, which was super cool. I saw a beaver, we saw a porcupine, we've seen bald eagles, and now a bear. This is only gonna get better, I think. We just stopped for fuel in a small town, I think it was called Tiffin. I'm not sure how much I paid for fuel, but it was probably a lot because fuel stations are getting sparser and sparser. But really cool, it's coming out of there like about a mile out of town. There's this red fox just walking down the road, no big deal. We pulled over and honestly, he didn't care about us at all. I was using the telephoto lens, but he got up pretty close to Sean's truck. So that's cool. Another cool sighting. All right, we have this big, massive lake that we have to drive all the way around. We're staying on the Alaska Highway, but we have a camp spot on another lake that's about an hour and a half away. We think it has a lot of potential. So we've got about another 30 minutes to get to camp, and there's this sign on the side of the road that's a little disconcerting. We've seen a lot of great wildlife today, but this is one I don't want to see. Sean and I are making, it's about a 30-minute detour out of the way to go check out this campsite. And I'm a little bit speechless. I don't know if I've ever seen a lake this beautiful. I mean, we've seen some incredible scenery on the way here, guys, but this might be the top. Now, I have a window full of dead bugs, which is pretty gross. But on my left, there are some massive granite mountains, and on my right is this just crystal clear lake, super blue with snow-capped, jagged mountains off in the background. I mean, it is gorgeous. I'll be curious to see what this campsite looks like. This might have been the right call for this detour. Place is beautiful. That water, the mountains, it's a little windy, but I can forgive the wind tonight for this view. Man, I love this planet. The air here in the Yukon is crisp and fresh, and I'm feeling pure joy in this moment. What a perfect culmination of our adventurous day.
Now time to make a little dinner, and you wouldn't know it by the looks of it, but it's actually around 8 o'clock at night. As we have been traveling north, the days are getting longer and longer, and tonight will be the first time that there will still be light in the sky all night long as we sleep. Now I'm just chopping up some vibrant fresh bell peppers, and then I just sauteed them up with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper. Lastly, I just browned some stew meat and combined them all together. This is starting to smell really, really good. And having a hot meal at the end of a long day on the road and the trail just warms the soul. And I can't express enough the deep satisfaction we are feeling in this moment, knowing we've made it this far, overcome some challenges, and we've been embracing the unknown. This meal, this place with a good friend is the perfect way to wrap up the day. Sean and I have had an incredible evening here on this beautiful lakefront beach. Had an awesome dinner, and we've been hanging around by the fire, just enjoying each other's company, having some great laughs and some great conversation. And you notice how bright it is out here? It's 9 o'clock, and that sun is at least 2 or 3 hours from setting. This is crazy. I've never experienced anything like this. I'm gonna have to put the covers over my head to get some sleep, because we're actually gonna call it a night, if you want to call it that, and go to bed. So, see you guys in the morning. Morning. It is day 9 of my Arctic Circle adventure, and this campsite has been one of the highlights of the trip so far, but we do need to leave this morning. We're going to head up to Whitehorse and Dawson Creek, and we're even thinking about seeing if we can do a little gold panning at maybe our potential next campsite, but we got to see how things go. We have a lot of miles and a lot of hours to put in, and it's still going to be several days before we get to Tuktoyaktuk, but the adventure continues. Okay, I wish I would have been quicker with turning my camera on, but just a minute after leaving camp, we saw 2 grizzly cubs scurry off into the trees. That means Mom was not too far from our campsite. We definitely need to be more alert as we continue on. I'm fine seeing a grizzly from afar, but near my camp is a little too close for comfort. Okay, after a couple hours drive, we arrived in Whitehorse, the vibrant capital of the Yukon. Nestled along the banks of the Yukon River, Whitehorse is a bustling town with a rich history. Originally a Klondike Gold Rush settlement, it grew rapidly with the construction of the White Pass and Yukon Route Railway in the early 1900s. This narrow-gauge railroad, built to connect Sagway, Alaska to Whitehorse, was crucial in transporting miners and supplies during the Gold Rush era. Today, Whitehorse offers a fascinating blend of historical charm and modern amenities, making it a perfect stop on our Arctic expedition. All right, we made it to Whitehorse. Nice, easy drive. Sean's leading the way today. So we're going to go check out the town for a little bit, get some fuel, get some supplies. Talking about seeing if we can find a butcher shop and maybe get some caribou or some moose meat. That'd be cool to grill up at the camp. And if all goes well, we might meet up with somebody kind of special here while we're here.
All right, guys, we're in Hogan Sports Lodge. Sean saw this and we're like, oh, we need some tackle because I need to catch some more grayling. And ran into Scott, who works here, who's a follower of the channel, and he gave me some recommendations on some lures. So we're going to catch some fish, guys. Next, a quick stop for a bite to eat and to meet up with an old friend. But first, I have to try this Canadian delicacy, I guess.
Your first poutine. It's not a legit poutine because it's tater tots, not fries, but we'll see how you feel. Oh, look at that. Look at that cheese.
It's a monster.
It's so stringy. Brad's having his first poutine ever. Yeah? It's pretty good. It's like pub food, you know, but
it was pretty delicious. And I also had a bison burger and fries, and yes, I've opted to put my keto diet on hold for the rest of the trip. I'll start up again when I get home. We were also joined by Kevin from the YouTube channel Lifestyle Overland, and he and his daughter are traveling to Alaska and just happened to be in Whitehorse at the same time. What a coincidence, and so great to catch up with him. Well, lunch was fantastic, and I am stuffed, and yes, I'm eating more carbs than I planned on this trip, but you know what, it was totally worth it. And what a great opportunity, meeting up with Kevin and his daughter from Lifestyle Overland. But whoever thought we would have met up here in the Yukon, but we've never hit a trail together, we've never gone camping together, and one of these days we're gonna make that happen. But what a great lunch. All right, now we're gonna go find a butcher shop and see if we can find some kind of specialty meat, get some fuel, some windshield washer fluid, and then we're going to, and then we gotta lace it down some miles and head north. But Whitehorse, it was a nice little stop. Our first stop was a Canada Tire store, which is kind of like if you smashed Home Depot, AutoZone, and Harbor Freight all together, this is what you would get. And we picked up some gold pans. Then we found a butcher shop and grabbed some elk steaks and bison sausage and hit the road. Stopped in CarMax for fuel and coffee because I think Sean and I are both dragging a little bit, so we both got some afternoon coffee to kind of keep us going because we still have another about 4.5 hours to get to Dawson City, and we're actually not going to go to Dawson City tonight. We're going to go to a nearby camping area that we think is going to be a pretty good spot. Now, as I was at the gas station pumping up, I was talking to a really nice gentleman. His name was Jim, and he said that he actually helped build the road up to Tuktoyaktuk. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty amazing. I'm like, we're really looking forward to checking it out, and we're hoping that the ferries are running. He's like, yeah. He's like, I just talked to a guy up north yesterday, and he said he's waiting for the ferry, so they're still not running. And so again, that's one of the hurdles we have to overcome, is we've got to be able to cross those two rivers, the Peel River and the Mackenzie River. And so we're going to keep a close eye on them. You know, the contingency is to maybe wait it out for a day or two. You know, we've got gold pans, we've got fishing poles. We'll just kind of see how things go. But we're going to get to camp a little late tonight, but it shouldn't matter because the sun is up until like 11, so we'll be fine. All right, well, you wouldn't know by the looks of it, but it's actually 9:13 in the evening. And we went all the way into Dawson City to get fuel because one of the gas stations that we went to on the way there, the gas pump didn't work. And so we had to drive all the way to Dawson City, and then we came all the way out to this old mining road where there was supposed to be this really cool camp spot next to the river where you can pan for gold. And well, we found it. And it's not nice. It's right on this industrial road. There's a lot of people driving around. There's already some people camping out there. So even though it's 9:13, we've opted to head out of here and go check out another campsite. The cool thing is there is a ton of historical stuff down here, and they've done a really good job of documenting all these old mining claims and stuff. So I think this is definitely a place worth exploring. But right now, we're gonna go check out camp. Well, after having no luck finding a campsite and driving around for about an hour, we opted to stay at a campground nearby. So
That's a wrap for tonight, but tomorrow we're going to go into Dawson City. You guys are going to love this. This morning on day 9, we are making our way into Dawson City, Yukon, and immediately it feels like stepping back in time. There are wooden sidewalks that creak under your feet as you stroll through this historic town, and the roads are all dirt, adding to its authentic frontier charm. Dawson City was the heart of the Klondike Gold Rush in the late 1890s, a bustling hub for attracting thousands of prospectors hoping to strike it rich. Walking through the town, Sean and I are surrounded by beautifully restored buildings, each with its own story to tell. The vibrant colors and intricate details of these structures transport us to an era of wild dreams and fierce determination. It's clear that Dawson City takes great pride in preserving its history, and it's evident in every corner of this incredible little city. One of the highlights in town is the Kino Riverboat, an iconic symbol of the town's rich history. This stern wheeler, now a static display, once navigated the treacherous waters of the Yukon River, carrying passengers and goods during the gold rush. Standing beside this majestic vessel, we can almost hear the echoes of a bygone era. We take a little extra time exploring the shops, each offering its own unique treasures and a glimpse into the town's past. The storekeepers are friendly and eager to share stories, adding to the sense of community and warmth that Dawson City exudes. Now, one place we decided to visit was one we weren't really sure about, but let me say right now, this is a must stop. The Dawson City Museum is incredible. Inside, we were greeted with an impressive collection of curated historical items. The exhibits vividly recount the town's origin, the gold rush frenzy, and the lives of the people who shaped its destiny. From vintage mining equipment to personal belongings of the early settlers, every item tells a story of perseverance and adventure. The museum truly brings the history of Dawson City to life, and we found ourselves captivated by this place. I strongly recommend a stop here. Dawson City was absolutely my favorite town we visited on this trip. The combination of history and culture and breathtaking scenery around every corner has left a lasting impression on me. Now, we headed out of town for a little bit, but we weren't done checking out historical stuff. Now, just outside of Dawson City, we were heading out to go do a little gold panning, but we came by the Dredge No. 4 Museum, home to the largest wooden-holed dredge in North America, and we just happened to arrive just as they were giving a tour, and we decided, why not? Let's go check it out. This massive piece of machinery was built in 1912, and it played a crucial role in the Klondike Gold Rush, extracting millions of dollars worth of gold from the Bonanza Creek. Walking through the museum, we gained a deeper understanding of the immense scale of the gold mining operations and the incredible engineering feats of the time. The stories of the men who operated this colossal dredge are a testament to the ingenuity and determination that defined the gold rush era. This was pretty cool. After the dredge tour, we made our way up the river where there is a public area that you are allowed to pan for gold. Now, neither Sean or I have ever panned for gold before, but what better place to give it a try? We had fun, but I'll say I think Sean has the gold panning bug. He found a couple flakes and I wasn't so lucky.
Oh, where'd it go? Oh, it's on my finger, look. That is a gold flake, right?
That's cool, man. Look at all the shiny though in there.
There's lots in there.
Lots of shiny in there. He talked about panning for gold the rest of the trip. I think he'll be back. I'm glad we took the time to visit all these places and have these experiences because it has made this adventure so much richer. But now, almost lunchtime, it's time to make our way to the famous Dempster Highway, which is our next objective. I've been on the road for 10 days, over 3,500 miles. I'm here with my good friend Sean from the Story Till Now, and we have reached the final leg of our adventure to the Arctic Circle. We are here at the Dempster Highway, and things are about to get real, about to get interesting,
About to get bumpy.
about to get bumpy,
And fingers crossed, we can make it all the way to the Arctic Ocean.
You know, if the ferry's not running, we can just send it across the ice.
I don't know about that, guys, but this is going to be a great end to this adventure.
Oh yeah, this is a part of the trip I've been excited about. The Dempster Highway is one of North America's most iconic and remote roads, stretching over 460 miles from Dawson City to Inuvik in the Northwest Territories. Completed in 1979, it was built to provide an all-weather route to Canada's Arctic regions. The highway traverses some of the most rugged and breathtaking terrain, crossing the Continental Divide and winding through the mountain ranges, tundra, and river valleys. Despite its challenges, the Dempster Highway is a lifeline for the communities it connects, ensuring the flow of goods and services year-round.
I am so full of joy right now. After months of planning and 10 days of driving to get here, I'm on the Dempster Highway. This is cool. And Sean, what a great guy to be with. This is perfect. Now, our plan today is to get in about 2 hours, start looking for a place to camp, and then tomorrow we will press on to the Arctic Circle. And then from there, we've got to figure out 2 major hurdles. Now, the first one is the Peel River Ferry, which we talked to the lady, a very, very nice lady, at the information station this morning. And she said the ferry should start running today, which means it should be good to go tomorrow. However, she doesn't think that the Mackenzie ferry will be running for a few more days. So we will try to make our way to the Mackenzie River and kind of see what it looks like, and we'll make an assessment from there. So we're gonna make it to the Arctic Circle. Whether we make it to the Arctic Ocean depend on that one important factor.
We've been getting a lot of inconsistent information about the status of the ferries, the road closures, and we've even been getting reports that some of the towns are completely out of fuel. Communication up here isn't as reliable as we would like it, so we're just gonna press ahead and we'll figure out how to overcome some of those challenges as we encounter them. All right, now we gotta lay down some miles.
Probably up about 2,500 feet from where we started, and the trees have started to kind of just dissipate, and now there's just these jagged mountains off in the distance. They're green, brown, black, and then still some snow on there. Incredible. It feels like you're at like 10,000 feet elevation, but we're only at 4,043. Sean and I just keep saying wow over and over. It's so beautiful, guys. This is a gorgeous drive. We had to stop for a moment because there are these massive chunks of ice in the water, and it's just beautiful. You guys got to see this. You know, this trip was it wasn't cheap. It's a lot of money in fuel, in food, in time away from home, time away from Regina. I've been kind of missing her the last couple days. But the financial burden of this trip, I think, has just paid off today. Unbelievable. And Sean and I we're like little kids. We can't stop smiling. We can't stop talking about, look at that, look at this. You guys got to come out here. I think we've been on the Dempster for about 4 hours, and we finally found a camp spot, and nobody here. It's just us. We got this whole place to ourselves, and there's these mountains and this frozen lake. Well, here, just take a look, guys. It's gorgeous. Okay, we're all set up at camp. Sean is grilling up those elk steaks. Ooh, look how thick those things are.
They're beefy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're elky.
They're elky steaks.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some elk steaks for dinner, and then over here I'm just making some simple pasta. Nice hearty dinner today.
Look at that. Oh, okay, I'll start with that. Oh, yeah. That's really good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tender?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while since I've had an elk steak, and what a treat. You know, when you're in the Yukon, it's the right thing to be eating tonight, I think, after a long day. Oh. Oh, yeah.
It's good, right?
Excellent. Nice job on the barbecue, buddy.
Thank you.
We're gonna enjoy these guys. What a banger of a day. Like, what a banger of a day.
Very banger.
Morning, guys. This morning I woke up and made some coffee and was just listening to all the birds that are around here. But the really magical thing about this place is you keep hearing the ice just cracking and smashing into the water. And I've tried to record it a few times and it just doesn't happen. It happens like every 5 or 10 minutes and you just hear this crack or this thud or this splash, and it's pretty incredible. I've never camped near anything like this ever, and this has been a pretty great experience. Now, I've just been walking around this morning just exploring my surroundings like I normally do, and as I was walking up the trail to get here, I noticed there were some droppings right in the middle of the trail, and I'm pretty sure that's bear scat, and it's right on the tire track where Sean or I would have driven right over. And it's not been flattened out, and it seemed pretty moist, so it's pretty fresh. And it's less than 100 yards from where we were camping, which means there was probably a bear or some other large animal up here last night while we were sleeping. So as I've been walking around, I am not leaving camp without my bear spray. We haven't seen any wildlife, but that's the first evidence of this area that we've seen something very interesting. I wonder if he creeped his way into camp last night. Okay, I'm gonna go have some more coffee, and Sean and I are gonna continue up the Dempster. The plan is to make it to the Arctic Circle today. So we've got about 6 hours of drive time, but we'll see how that goes. We may go shorter, we may go further. We've got the flexibility. Oscar Mike, and Sean's leading today. We've been doing that the whole trip, is just alternating who leads what day. And sometimes it's nice to take the lead, and sometimes it's nice just to sit back and relax and let the other person do the work. So we've just been alternating. It's been working out really well. Now, I was just glancing down at my fuel, and I am below half a tank. And it says right now that I'm getting about 11.2 miles to the gallon, and my range is 114 miles, and to Eagle Plains is 147 miles. So I might be tapping into some of that extra fuel I brought today. We'll see how it goes. Notably more dusty today. I'm pretty far back from Sean right now, just because it's this kind of that really fine white powder dust, and there's no wind, which is nice, but that dust just settles on the trail and sits there, so you gotta fall pretty far back just to have some good visibility. Road conditions are great. There's been a couple little pothole sections, but nothing crazy. We've seen some construction going on the trail, so I imagine that they do a pretty good job of just maintaining this all the time. Very impressed with how the road conditions have been so far. I really didn't expect it to be this smooth. I mean, I'm doing 53 miles an hour right now, so we're moving right along. About 2 hours, a little over 2 hours to Eagle Point. The moment has finally come. My fuel light went on a while back, and I just am on fumes now. I probably have 2 gallons of reserve fuel, which at this average fuel mile per gallon would only get me about 24 miles, and we've still got about 60 miles to go. So I need to drop in a can. Guess I'll be getting rid of some weight. That'll be nice. See, I brought 4 jerry cans with me, and I think it's pretty safe to say that on this leg from Eagle Plains back to Dawson City, I'm probably going to need another can. But the good news is I probably didn't need all these. I was just a little overcautious, but we'll see. The trip's not over yet, so we may be tapping into more of these.
I am so thankful I brought extra fuel on this trip, because I will be needing it again on that same stretch of road on the way back. Now, our next stop is just up ahead, which is the small town of Eagle Plains, with a whopping population of 8. Eagle Plains has a much needed gas station, a hotel for those needing to spend the night, and a small restaurant and bar. We decided to go in and have a bite to eat and play a little pool while we waited for our food. Sean won this round, but I'd say that we are both a little rusty. And the ambiance in here it's a little different, but it was enjoyable. We ate a hearty hot meal, and then it was time to get on the road. Next stop, Arctic Circle.
Guess what, guys? We made it. We made it to the Arctic Circle.
Yes! Dude, the Arctic Circle's windy.
It's windy, but we made it,
did
dude.
it. We're at the Arctic Circle.
The Arctic Circle is an imaginary line located at 66.33 degrees north latitude. The line marks the southernmost point where the sun can remain continuously above or below the horizon for 24 hours, resulting in a phenomenon known as the midnight sun in the summer and polar night in the winter. Crossing into the Arctic Circle signifies entering one of the Earth's most extreme and fascinating regions where the environment, wildlife, and experiences are unlike anywhere else on the planet. I'm kind of speechless, honestly. I've been thinking about this for so long, and I've seen, you know, so many people that I admire do this trip. And coming up here to the Arctic Circle today is just, it's fantastic. And doing it with a good friend like Sean, I couldn't have asked for a better companion. This has been epic, man. Awesome. Hopefully now we can continue, because we have been getting all kinds of mixed messages about ferries running and, you know, whether or not the rivers are too high, rivers are too low. So we're just gonna go find camp tonight, and we will press on tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. But we made it to the Arctic Circle, guys.
We did make it to the Arctic Circle.
Sean and I were just noting that we haven't seen any wildlife since we've been on the Dempster. No deer, no moose, no caribou, no bear. I mean, we saw the bear droppings around our camp, which was a little weird, but we haven't actually seen any animals. But then I was thinking, look, you really have to pay attention to this road. I mean, it's rugged. There's lots of turns and twists and ups and downs. And so glancing out the window for very long to see if you can see any wildlife on the distance is not something you can easily do. So it would actually be nice to have a passenger with me, have Regina here, you know, spotting for wildlife, because it's possible we could have driven right past some. Hopefully we'll see some.
All right, we've been driving for about an hour since hitting the Arctic Circle, and we had a campground that we were planning on staying, and we just pulled up, and well, there's a closed gate. And I don't have a lot of campsites marked in this area, so I'm gonna have to come up with plan B. Well, I don't know what that campground was like that we were at, because we couldn't get in there, but we just drove down a little bit further, and this is probably better than the campground. We're right on this river. There were a bunch of geese that just flew by. There's it's either elk or caribou droppings, so there's wildlife out here somewhere, and maybe there's some fish in this river. Not a bad turn of events. This turned out to be a great campsite. Well, until it wasn't, but more about that in a minute. While Sean and I were relaxing on the riverbank, we took some time to kind of reflect on why it is that we're doing this trip. So why have I been dreaming about coming to the Arctic Circle for so many years? Well, there's several people that I admire that have done this trip, and they've inspired me through the adventures that they had and the things that they've seen. And I've just been wanting to do this trip for so long, but I knew what a huge commitment this is going to be. And I've done some awesome trips that I will never forget in my entire life over the years. But I knew that this one was going to push beyond the limits of anything I'd ever done before. And I think it's kind of like maybe what a mountain climber feels when they climb a mountain and they just want to climb that next bigger mountain. I just wanted to do something bigger and longer and harder and more challenging than I've done before. And so far, this trip has been everything and more than I hoped it would be. And I'm so looking forward to kind of the culmination of getting to the end. And even the journey home is going to be incredible, I believe. But the question now that I'm asking myself is, one, why did I wait so long? And two, what's my next big adventure going to be?
I've never really done a trip longer than 2 weeks. And even in that 2 weeks, it was more going somewhere and then coming back out, you know, going to a town, taking a little rest, and then going back out a few more days on the trail. This is a consistent 2.5 weeks traveling every single day. I enjoy doing these trips because I get to push the limits of you know, where you can go in a vehicle in all the trips that I do is I want to see new places. It gets me really excited. Just what's around the next corner. What can I find? What can I see that I haven't seen? Where can I go that's interesting and cool that I haven't been before? And so even though this is, you know, kind of a famous trip that a lot of people have done, I haven't done it. It's new to me. And the idea of going all the way north, you know, to the top of my country, to the Arctic Ocean, it just seemed like it would be a really awesome trip. And I couldn't ask for someone better to go on it with than Brad.
Hey guys, so we were having a pretty calm evening, and I was actually in the tent. I was kind of chilling out. I called Regina, was getting ready for bed, and Sean was like, hey, the water level around us is rising. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. And I was like, all right, well, we kept an eye on it, and it keeps rising and rising. And you think it's snow melt.
Yeah, it's got to be snow melt because it's been pretty warm, right? It hasn't been raining or anything. We don't get flash floods, really.
Yeah, it's not like in the desert where you get flash floods, but the water is definitely come up quite a bit. And this water over here, we were just skipping through to kind of walk around and explore. So
basically it wasn't even here.
It was, yeah, there was barely any water here. So we're about to get surrounded by water. And so what we're going to do is we're kind of packing up, and we're gonna move up to a little bit higher ground. I think it's a safe thing to do before we go to bed, because the last thing we want to do is find ourselves in a, you know,
a puddle.
In a puddle.
We were probably safe right where we were. We were just being a little overcautious, but I know I would be thinking about it all night long, and I probably wouldn't sleep well. Plus, if the water did happen to rise significantly and kind of suck our trucks into the soil, well, that would have been a bit of a challenge. So better safe than sorry. And yes, I drove with my tent fully deployed. It was fine. Okay, that was a fun little drill. So we've moved up a little bit higher ground into the driveway. You can see the road is just right there, so we really can't move a whole lot higher, and we had to stay level. But there was almost no water here, and we were on that little tiny thin little strip of island over there, which was a big strip of island when we first got here, but now all this water has come in, and if it starts to move up, we've got a few inches to deal with. So probably need to set my alarm and just kind of check this in the morning, but I think we'll be okay. The good news is if that water level does come up, we're aimed for the road and we can get out of there. But yeah, it is, by the way, it is 10:30 at night, and you can see the sun is still up. Good morning, guys. We had a pretty eventful night last night.
Yeah.
The water started rising where we were camping, and well, we decided to move. And the water didn't rise as much as we expected, but I think it was the right call.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were gonna have a 0 day today. We were gonna have no travel time and just relax. And so Sean got word that both ferries are potentially running today.
Both ferries are running today.
So, whew, we've had a slow morning. We're gonna make some breakfast, and we're gonna decide whether or not we want to continue, maybe travel a little bit more today, or really take the 0 day. I think we're both kind of excited now.
Yeah, I kind of want to get moving.
Yeah.
Knowing that the destination is attainable.
Yeah.
Gets my juices pumping. So.
Yeah. And we're really kind of just camping right off the road now. We're not right on the river anymore, so it's not as epic as it was. So
yeah, it's not as epic as when it was water was starting to creep up through our camp.
Yeah. So I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna have a nice big breakfast, have a slow morning. We'll play it by ear. All right,
by unanimous decision, we've decided we're heading out. So we had about a half of a 0 day. So it's just before lunch, and well, we're gonna see how far we can get today. All right, another very cool milestone. We made it to the Northwest Territories, and coming over this hill, got an incredible view off into the distance, and there's some signs to say how far it is to Fort McPherson, Inuvik, Tuktoyaktuk, the Arctic Ocean. It's all in kilometers, so I don't know what that means.
Northwest Territories is something special. We just came through that beautiful valley, and then we just crested this hill and got views for as far as you can see. And it's just these rolling plains with some black, looks like volcanic mountains off in the distance. And I can't see a tree for as far as I can see. It's a very unique landscape, but it's very beautiful. All right, we're about a mile from the Peel River for the first ferry crossing, and we just passed a little offshoot on the trail where there was a semi-truck that was staged there. I actually saw him pass our camp this morning. There was a couple RVs, actually a couple overland vehicles there, and I don't want to think the worst, but my feeling is maybe they're staged waiting for the ferry to run. Maybe it's not running. We're about to find out. Well, we made it to the Peel River, and the news that we had received that the ferry was running was inaccurate. The ferry is not running. In fact, this ferry here specifically is a cable ferry, and so the cable is not even hooked up, and the ramp leading into the ferry is a hot, muddy mess. Like I wouldn't be comfortable taking the Jeep and the trailer down that ramp. And so they still have to prep the ramp. They got to get the cable going. We can see the ferry on the other side of the river, but I mean, there's no way that's going to be running today. Is it going to be running tomorrow or the next day? And the other question is, there's another ferry we still have to cross, and what's the status on that one? I got to be honest, I have a lot of mixed emotions going on in my head right now, because I don't want this to be the end of our journey. I got to take a look at things and kind of think this out. I knew going into this that we were arriving early in the season, that this could be an issue. For several months out of the year, this river is frozen over and you can just drive across it. But in the early spring and fall, the ice is too thin to drive over, but too thick that the ferries can't run. On average, the ferries are running on June 1st. All right, we got good news and we got bad news. The good news is we talked to the construction workers that were down there, and they're actually pulling up the cable right now as we speak, and then they have that grader and they're going to work on grading out the ramp down to the ferry. Not going to be running today, but they said maybe tomorrow.
So that's good news, because we were going to have a 0 day today anyway. We just kind of decided, you know, let's go. So now we're going to go backtrack and see if we can find a place to camp for the evening and come back tomorrow. Now, the bad news. We got a report that past the town of Inuvik, in between Inuvik and Tuk, that there's been a washout in the road. So I don't know what that means. I mean, we're in some pretty capable four-wheel drive, so who knows? But we're going to go find a place to camp for right now, and we're going to figure this out. The adventure is not over. All right, challenges like this are just part of the adventure. And again, today was going to be a 0 day for us, so it's not that critical that we had to cross the ferry. We were just excited and optimistic. And so what we're going to do is we actually drove about, I don't know, we're about 4 or 5 miles from the ferry crossing. We found a pretty good camp spot, actually, with a nice view off in the distance. So we're going to hang out here for the rest of the afternoon. It's still pretty early. Have some lunch, and we'll try again tomorrow with the ferry. Fingers crossed. All right, it's the morning of day 13, and it is bitter cold out here. The temperature is only like 34 degrees, but the wind chill is, whoo, it's making it pretty chilly. So we are not hanging out here at camp, and word has it, the ferries are running. So we're packing up, and fingers crossed this morning we're gonna start crossing some rivers, guys. Arrived, and there is a big line waiting for the ferry. So we'll see how long this goes, and well, if the ferry's running. All right, let's go on the truck and warm up here. I'll tell you guys what's going on. So there's a very big line waiting on the ferry. Some people have camped on the road here because this was supposed to open yesterday. We got to the end, and the cable is attached, which is good because that wasn't even attached yesterday. The ferry's on this side of the water, which is good news, but they are still working on that ramp. And I don't know how long it's going to take to dredge the water so the ferry can come all the way up and then make the ramp, you know, drivable for some of these big rigs. So we're going to wait it out. This may mean that we're here for a few hours because one, they've got to finish, and then two, it's going to be a while before they get all these cars back and forth. And if it opens up this afternoon and we work our way to Tuk and we get there late, so be it. But we're going to make this happen, guys. Well, after 6 hours of waiting and watching these guys work really hard on getting this ramp ready for the ferry, the first load just went across. We're crossing the ferry, guys. We're heading north. Boy, what a great feeling to be on the other side of the river. Now, Sean was able to get on the ferry before me, so he has head straight to Fort McPherson, which is about 5 miles away, and he's gonna get fuel. And I said, dude, just grab a ton of snacks and food, that way I don't have to go to the grocery store, and I'll just get fuel, and then we're gonna press on. We're gonna get to Tuk pretty late, but it's all going to be worth it. We still got another ferry to catch, but we're going to be okay, I think.
We had received word that some of the gas stations were out of fuel, so we knew this was a possibility, but thankfully Fort McPherson has 2 gas stations. So, after restocking on a whole lot of groceries, we headed over to the other gas station, which only had one of its 2 gas pumps working, thankfully. Things are starting to fall into place. One more ferry crossing and one more fuel stop in Inuvik, and if all goes well, we're going to make our way to Tuktoyaktuk this evening.
All right, we're just coming up to the Mackenzie River, and we saw a few vehicles drive past us, and our best guess is they were just coming off of the ferry, so I think we're all good to go. All right, we made it across. 173 miles to go. Getting there.
We are so filled with anticipation now after having crossed both rivers. We made a very brief stop in the town of Inuvik for fuel, and then we began our final leg towards the Arctic Ocean. It's now within our reach.
All right, I think we found the washout. The good news is, some pretty capable four-wheel drive vehicles. So no problem here.
We finally arrived to Tuktoyaktuk, a small, vibrant village on the shores of the Arctic Ocean. Known locally as Tuk, this unique community has a rich cultural heritage. Tuktoyaktuk is famous for its traditional practices, stunning coastal landscapes, and remarkable pingos, which are ice-colored hills that dot the landscape. This remote village only once was accessible by ice road, now welcomes adventurers via the Dempster Highway's extension, offering a glimpse into life into the Arctic.
It is January 4th, 2024. It is 10:59 p.m. I have been on the road for 14 days with my good friend Sean, 3,700 miles, an epic journey. And I made it to the Arctic Ocean. Heck yeah!
The Arctic Ocean is the smallest and shallowest of the world's oceans. Covered by sea ice for most of the year, this ice undergoes a seasonal cycle, melting during the summer months and refreezing in the winter. Weeks from now, most of this ice won't even be visible from the shoreline. Witnessing this, standing here, the raw, breathtaking beauty of this, absolutely incredible.
I don't even know if I can put into words how amazing this feels. That's the Arctic Ocean, guys. And we're gonna be camping here tonight. It's 11:30, and there's still people running around town. I think we're the first people to probably camp here in 6 to 8 weeks. So we were getting a lot of looks as we were coming into town. But I think what we're gonna do is just set up camp probably just eat a super quick meal, and then I don't know if I can go to bed. This is pretty amazing. I think I'm just gonna sit down and enjoy this a little bit, and then enjoy it a little bit more and more in the morning over coffee. But man, it's beautiful. Look at that. It just goes forever. Cup of coffee on the edge of the Arctic Ocean. What an incredible morning. It's cold up here, but I am so amazed at just how much ice there is. I didn't expect this, and I knew we were coming up here early in the season, and it was going to be a struggle getting across those rivers and the road conditions and making it up here. But I didn't think that the ocean would be this frozen. It's pretty special. It's pretty special. Now, we were up pretty late last night, and we were talking to some of the townspeople, just the nicest folks, coming up and asking us where we were from and telling us a little bit about the place and the history. Super friendly folks. This is a great little town. And this morning I've been walking around trying to figure out how or where I could actually get in the water. And I don't think the polar plunge is going to happen. There's a lot of ice, and the areas where there's not ice, the water's pretty stagnant, and it's not the cleanest of waters. I imagine once this thaws and the water starts moving, it'll be better. Some of the areas where there might be a possibility of getting in, like you have to walk across ice and it might not be safe. So as much as I would love to go do a polar plunge, I think it's going to be more of a polar dip your toes in. That's kind of the plan. It's been an incredible adventure, guys. Doing this with Sean from the Story Till Now, just an absolute epic adventure. If you've enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed following me along on this adventure, here's another video that I think you guys will really enjoy. We've got a long trek home, but the journey here was worth it. Safe travels, guys. Woo! Yeah, buddy. Oh, that's refreshing. That's